All right, so I'm getting ready to do something I haven't done in a really long time. I am going to an adult ballet class, and I used to be a dancer, and it was a huge part of my identity. That's something that, with chronic pain and illness, has kind of not been on the forefront for quite a while. I'm so excited to get back into it. I wanted to share kind of a before and after of me going in. And, this is so important in limbic system retraining and brain retraining and healing, is doing things that used to bring us joy, even if they look a little different. So I found out about this studio from a friend of mine. I know that they have a whole range of different ages and ability levels. And I even emailed the teacher beforehand to let her know I might have some physical limitations. I might not do center work. I might stay on the bar. So I want to just see how it feels and give some feedback of, and some encouragement for anyone who has to take a break on things that they used to love, how to maybe find an adaptive way to enjoy those things again. So stay tuned. I'm about to walk in, and then I will let you know how it goes. Wish me luck. All right, so ballet was awesome. I'm posting 2 days later just because it was too late that night. There was a storm after, so I couldn't post that night. It was really awesome to be back into it. So I just made a really delicious smoothie, and that is like my new favorite thing, is just how good fruit makes me feel. And going for a walk on the farm, all the animals are having a nice day today. But in my smoothie we got fresh yellow watermelon off of a fruit truck today down here in Florida. A lot of stuff is in season. Banana, mango, acai, dragon fruit, and some berries and some flax seeds. So super exciting, super delicious. And yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about trying new things and doing new activities when you're doing brain retraining. And that could be getting back into something that you used to enjoy doing that you weren't sure if you'd ever get back to it, like I have been doing with dance. That could also be just trying completely new things and forming all new neural pathways in your brain. So I wanted to chat a little bit today just about those things, and we'll find a nice quiet spot back here that the puppies won't be barking, and don't mind my pit bulls and parolees shirt. I didn't even realize I had this on today, but I still love that show. I was so sad when it got canceled. But anyway, here we are today. We'll look at the field behind us. Maybe the donkeys will come over. And so, yeah, really what I wanted to chat about is, in the neuroplasticity journey, in our healing journey that we're going through, the importance of always doing activities that bring us joy and committing that we can still do those activities even with limitations or even with changes. So in my example, I know we don't talk a lot about symptoms in our community, but I think it's important to recognize, I don't think it's like some magical taboo thing that you can never talk about symptoms, and if you do, they're going to get worse, because I think the difference there is we shouldn't be obsessing about symptoms, right? We shouldn't be using symptoms as a negative feedback loop to create this spiral. So the example I wanted to give that pertains to me is my chronic fatigue syndrome started almost 20 years ago, combination of Epstein-Barr virus and Lyme disease, and kind of got progressively worse right there in my late teens, early 20s, had kind of a remission in my mid 20s, and then in my late 20s, after I had my daughter, I actually had a really bad spinal injury. I had a fraction and a herniation in my lower back, and it caused a lot of pain and a lot of bed rest. And so what happened is, I had been keeping a lot of symptoms at bay with exercise. I was running marathons, I was teaching yoga, I was really into fitness and hiking and running and all of these lovely things. And when I had that really bad injury in my spine, I was on bed rest for quite a long time, and I lost the ability to do things that I really loved to do, but also being still and stagnant and not moving my body. I had a really bad relapse and flare of chronic fatigue, Lyme symptoms, and then associated with that just depression and anxiety. And what I noticed though is it kind of became a roller coaster effect, because I was in so much pain. The pain reaction would cause symptoms like racing heart rate, or I would try to do my things I normally would do and it would be painful. So by the time I got from my car to the building I was walking to, I would be shaking. So then I got diagnosed with POTS. And it wasn't until years later I was like, POTS, yes, can be caused and triggered by trauma, autonomic nervous system injury. But it was really interesting that now I see it all linked together. So having that traumatic injury to my spine, causing a lot of really bad acute pain and then chronic pain, triggered changes in my autonomic nervous system with hypervigilance that then led to these POTS symptoms as well. And all of that steamrolled and then exacerbated this chronic fatigue I used to have that now came back because now I wasn't able to do things. So long story short, worked really hard on brain retraining, worked really hard on getting back into a fitness routine, was able to complete 4 half marathons like 2 years ago, was getting back into it, was really working with a Lyme literate doctor, taking supplements, doing all these things. And then I broke my leg and got a really bad injury to my foot. So I had to take another break. And again, I was on bed rest for now another 1.5 years. Pretty much. I was able to walk around a little bit, but it was intense. And that led to a return of not just the POTS symptoms, but then my back issue actually came back. Plus now I have a herniation in this thoracic vertebrae, just really crazy stuff, right? And the thing is, I said to myself, I can't let this spiral again. I was just getting back up, getting back into fitness, movement, healing. I can't let this spiral again into another issue where now I'm on bed rest. So I cleared with my chiropractor and my functional medicine doctor, like, could I go back to dance? Because number one, dance is something that I have a huge passion for, a huge joy. It brings me so much excitement and it rewires those neurons. I really have to think in a dance class because you're doing different combinations and different movements, and it just brings me joy, the music and the fellowship and the community, and it's a good way to move your body. And it's a really good type of physical therapy for your back. You have to have really good posture and a really strong core and really engage. And it's not really heavy movement where you're pounding like running can be sometimes. So, but I was really nervous. I was like, okay, I'm doing these videos on YouTube to get back into it. I can do the movement, but I'm really worried I won't be able to keep up in a class. And that's like, it's embarrassing, it's scary, it's, all of these things. And so I said, well, how do we frame this in a way that we can get back into an activity in a way that feels safe and supported? So I reached out to a school locally that offers adult ballet classes and says, open to beginners. So I figured, okay, even me who used to do more of these advanced classes having an injury, maybe that just puts me more at a beginner level. And then on top of that, I emailed them and I said, listen, here's my situation. I'm coming back from injury. I haven't danced in a while. I have this ongoing pain issue in my spine. I'd really love to come to your class. I've been medically cleared. Can I hang out in the back? And maybe I just won't do the across the floor and the jumps. I'll just do the bar. And they were like, oh my gosh, of course, fine. Come this week. So the coolest thing about this neuroplasticity journey and seeing these parallels and these synchronicities that show we're on the right track is I walk into this class and this sweet older lady walks in and she is like hunched and hobbling and like looking like she's struggling. And I hear her talking to a student and she's like, they're like, oh, we missed you. So she's the teacher. And she's like, yeah, herniated a couple discs and I'm finally back at it. I've been out for a while. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I could not have walked into a better class. This teacher, literally, you can tell she's having to modify. She's had these same issues and injuries and she's here teaching. So walked up, told her some of my story a little bit and just said, I'm so happy to come in. I'll stand on the back. I don't want to mess anyone up. I was kind of surprised. There was some advanced dancers in this class, even though it was marketed as beginner. And she was so welcoming and everyone was so welcoming. And so right off the bat, getting that sense of community and realizing that so many times we fear how other people's reaction is going to be to our limitations, to our expectations, to where we are in our healing journey. And so often we're met with the opposite. We're met with people who are just welcoming and accepting and they want to help and they want to be supportive. And so it was just so beautiful to have that experience. And so walking in, doing that class, finding the support, finding the joy in the movement. And obviously there were some things I can't do right now. And who knows if I'll be able to do them again, but that's where this idea of the acceptance and commitment therapy that I talk about with my own clients, that I talk about in my healing program a lot, and just in general, what comes into play is I accept my limitations for what they are. I accept where I am right now. Even if nothing ever changes and that stays the same, I'm still committed to living a values-driven life, a purpose-driven life. I'm still committed to doing things that bring me joy and that I feel excited about, and that I get this sense of community and vibrance and energy and abundance from. And so it was such a beautiful experience, and I wanted to just post about it kind of informally. This isn't really a scientific neuroplasticity type video, but just to talk about, go out there and try something new. Go out there and do something you used to like to do with some limitations. Who cares? Still enjoy it, have fun, find a way to make it work, or try something entirely new that pushes outside of your comfort zone but is within your ability level, so that you can feel successful but also feel excited about doing something, and it's forcing your brain to form those new connections to do something different. So, you know, at the bar, if anyone knows anything about dance, at the bar doing the prescribed movements, I was like, okay, I can do this, I'm pretty good, I got this. Going into center in a ballet class where the teacher teaches a combination and you have to like instantly memorize it and do it, that was really tough, like, not gonna lie. And I don't think it was just my spine, it was some of my brain fog and some of those issues that linger even with brain retraining. But I still went out and did it, and I kind of like laughed it off and was like, oh yeah, struggling with this part. And the teacher's like, you're fine, you're doing a great job. And I'm like, I'll gotta stay in the back. And she's like, nope, totally get it. So still just go and try it and do it. Everyone was supportive, everyone was welcoming. And I felt, literally, I felt my brain turning on in areas that it has not been on in a really long time. And it felt familiar in a lot of ways because it's stuff that I used to do all the time and love doing as a dancer. But having that part of my brain be off for so long and then turning on again, it's those neurons firing, the neuroplasticity, the new connections, focusing on right and left brain, learning something new, being in a different novel environment. It was just so amazing. So I hope this inspires someone today. I hope you guys get out there and do something that you're excited about, that brings you a sense of joy and wonder and curiosity. And yeah, I will talk to you guys all soon. Cheers.